This is On Track talkSPORT's weekly motorsports show. Coming up, we're going to hear from another Formula E driver before we get ready for the start of the new season, season 11, taking place at Sao Paulo for the third year running, actually, now on the 7th of December. But before we do that, we're going to look ahead, even further, actually, to next year for the new FIA F3 season, because some drivers are starting to confirm that they will be competing, and one returning driver now joins me in the studio. Callum Voisin from Rodin, you're continuing your relationship after kind of up and down first year in the championship. However, it ended positively, so that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously extremely excited to be doing F3 again next year. As you said, a bit of up and down year, let's say. But I think it started off pretty slowly, admittedly. Perhaps a little bit underprepared. Going into the season, a new car for me. A lot of tracks I've never been to. Obviously being on the F1, I guess, circus, if you'd like, for the first time was, a lot of things to adapt to. But yeah, as you said, it had a good ending. We kept working hard, and we ended the year with 2 podiums, a win, a pole position. So all in all, pretty happy with how it went, and eyeing up some more success for next year. I think that's the main thing.
Super positive. So for those of you listening who don't know Callum, so you did GB3, it was just 2 seasons, wasn't it? But you won the championship in the second season in 2023. Yeah. And the obvious step is to go into FIA F3. Was there ever a moment where you thought you were going to do something else, or was it always this path?
It's a good question. There were a few times where I wasn't too sure what I was going to do the year after. I think 2023 was the first year for me that I kind of finished probably my best ever season, and I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing, in a couple of months' time. So there were, few other options. GTs, America was another, or single seaters in the US was another option. Good one that I could have done. Prototype racing, but my goal obviously is Formula 1 and still is Formula 1. So for me, I really wanted to be on that international stage, especially, FIA F3. It's not necessarily a category that you have to do to get to Formula 1, but it's certainly one that helps because, it's on the F1 circus. You've got everybody watching you. You go around, all the Formula 1 tracks that you wouldn't do necessarily in other championships. So, and it's the third tier, I guess, on the way to Formula 1. So it was certainly one that I wanted to do, and that was the goal. So thankfully and luckily, I've got a very good relationship with Rodin Motorsport, formerly known as Carlin. So they gave me an opportunity to do a year this year in F3, and then re-signed this year after the success we had towards the end of this year, and looking forward to it.
Do you feel that winning the GB3 Championship, and this may be a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, do you feel that you had more options because of that championship win? Because I say this with looking at other drivers from that championship and from similar championships that also progressed to F3 who weren't the champion, like Max Esterson, for example, Tommy Smith, a few names from the years you were driving there. You've named all the options you had on the table there. Was the championship something that really put you into the shop window for people?
100%. I think, it's normal life at the end of the day. The winner is the one that's going to get, the best options, the best car in our situation. So, it certainly helped. It was arguably probably my most important year in some ways because that's what really got me on the map, internationally. I think before 2023, before I won the GB3 Championship, I'm not sure many people knew me in the motorsport scene, whereas I guess in the humblest way possible now, a lot of people, certainly in, F1 paddock, let's say, I'm a little bit more well known. Not let's say compared to Lewis Hamilton, but certainly more than what I was. So it was a huge achievement for me. It was my first ever championship of any sort, really, even through karting, certainly single seaters. So Yeah, it was a very special day for sure.
Something that impressed me at the couple of races I went to this past season, the F1 races, was that people like you and Joseph Loke, your teammate, were getting recognised. I was walking out of Australia with Joseph Loke, and he was baffled because people were legitimately asking for his signature because they knew who he was. It wasn't that he was standing next to a poster of himself at a signing. He was just walking out to go back to the hotel, and there were groups of people stopping him. Have you had those experiences at F1 weekends?
Well, you were one of them, weren't you, John, in Australia?
Well, yeah, well, thanks for signing that stuff for me. I put it on eBay straight away.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm joking. But
it must be weird though, because these GB3 weekends, although it is the peak of single-seater motorsport in the UK, the crowds aren't huge, and then you're suddenly on those F1 weekends where people are seeing your name on the screens when they're waiting for stuff to happen on track. So you're instantly more recognisable, even if people don't follow F3.
For sure. I mean, obviously it depends. The different circuits. I'd say Australia is really good actually. The fans are incredible there. Obviously, British Grand Prix is very good as well. Being, with it being my home event, that was probably one of the biggest for me. Just the amount of people there. I think the British fans are probably one of the best. They're all there waiting at 8 a.m. for us to start the feature race on Sunday. And then what else? The Italian fans are crazy. The Tifosi. Imola and Monza, they're probably the wildest of the bunch. But no, it is, getting back to your question, it is a bit surreal at first, because as you said, in GB3 you might have to sign the odd signature for somebody, but in general, you can go in and out of the paddock without seeing anybody and not being stopped on your way. But for sure, certainly at some tracks, it's you do get not swamped. Obviously, we're not the Formula One drivers with the bodyguards by their sides and stuff like that. But you certainly do get a few people, especially the proper, let's say, die-hard fans who they follow a lot of other racing series. For sure, they enjoy watching the young drivers. I think it's usually, if you haven't watched F3 before, it's quite exciting. There's a lot at stake for us, and with us being on the Formula One circuit, there's a lot of overtaking that happens. So we do push it to the limit quite a lot. So in terms of racing, it's good fun, and I mean, it's certainly a bit different walking around the paddock and few people knowing your name. But
don't knock it.
Yeah,
that's what I say. Obviously, we see a lot of young drivers going into F1 next season in 2025, which must be really encouraging for you to know that these things can happen. We have Kimi Antonelli, who I don't think actually did F3, did he? He just went to F2. So that's, obviously he's seen as a generational talent. But other drivers like Ollie Behrman, who are stepping up this year, when you see that, I'm sure you probably know some of these drivers. It must make you think, actually, as much as, for example, I tell people who don't watch motorsports, if I say an F3 driver, I'll sell it as 2 steps below F1. Whereas when you see those jumps, it might not seem even that far away, because you could soon be getting opportunities, like free practices and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think, going to your question about all these new rookies coming in, I think it's brilliant. I'm a big fan of drivers getting opportunities, and certainly young drivers trying to prove themselves in Formula One. Especially, it's so difficult. There's only 20 seats available in the whole world in Formula One, and there's many more drivers that want to have a seat. So no, I think it's brilliant. I think a lot of drivers, especially in the last year or so, or 6 months, have proved that us young drivers can kind of hop in and be fast straight away. I think the preparation from F3 and F2 has been very good, and I think a big learning curve for everybody, but that's what builds you up for Formula One, and it prepares you very well. So obviously you've got Franco Colapinto, notably, Oliver Behrman. Every time they hop in, they've been straight on the pace, matching their teammates. So no, it's incredibly exciting, and for sure for me, it's something that I look forward to. Those drivers are 2-3 years older than me, kind of ahead of me, if you'd like. And then there's the next wave, which is, I guess, me and countless other drivers who are, slightly younger. But yeah, no, for sure. As you said, it can come around very quickly, and who knows when you get to drive an F1 car.
I think it's probably good for you as well that you are a few years younger, because there's a lot of worry now that so many young rookies are going into Formula One in 2025 that actually there won't be opportunities for the next few years or so, but actually that kind of plays into your favour, hopefully.
Certainly, yeah. It kind of sets a new standard of the grid, if you like, a new baseline. So, there'll be, I don't know, a lot of the young drivers are going to be there for a long time now. A Formula One career can last, a long time. Or Fernando Alonso,
or 10 races.
Fernando Alonso's got,
Vries,
20 years of experience or so. But yeah, or it's as cutthroat as that. It can last about 10 races, as you said. So, you never really know how the market's, the driver market's going to play out. But certainly, I think the fact that I'm still, I guess, two years away or so from, talking about an F1 opportunity, I think is quite good, because there's a few older drivers perhaps maybe moving away at some point. Not name dropping anybody, but I'm sure you know. And then, obviously the new guys coming in, they'll have a few years under their belt. So whether they get to stay in F1 or not, I think actually my wave of drivers is quite a good one to be in.
Well, look, fingers crossed on that. I've got to ask you, now you have spent a year on the F1 weekends. Have you had any interactions with F1 drivers?
A few, yeah. It's actually, it depends. Some weekends you can go around and not see one F1 driver because we don't get access to the F1 paddock. So in that sense, it's not quite as, glitz and glamorous as what people might think. But then there's other weekends where, you'll see them all the time. It just depends, whether your paths kind of cross, on the way to the paddock, on the way to the car park, something like that. But we're not quite the ones that are on the private jet everywhere.
Not yet.
But no, not yet, exactly. But no, in general, it is pretty good. Imola, notably, we got to do it was the Senna tribute run. So there were, I think, 15 of the F1 drivers were all there, and obviously all F2, F3 drivers were there too. So, you get to see them quite a lot. And
that's the whole thing organised by Seb, wasn't it? Seb Vettel?
Yeah, it was all organised by Seb. I actually ran with Seb right next to him.
So who was faster? That's the question.
Oh, well.
Because you've got age on your side, but then he's been an F1 driver.
It was a bit of a slow run.
Okay, but you could have burnt him off if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, easily. No, well, I don't know. I'm sure he's pretty good. He's had a few years training, isn't he? But
yeah. So who do you look up to in the world of F1? Like, if you could, if you could follow someone's career, you're probably just going to say Lewis Hamilton now, because obviously he's won the most championships at the moment. What kind of career would you like to have if you had to look at some of the drivers that are on the grid at the moment?
You know what? A lot of people ask me this question. I find it really difficult to answer, because I really want to create my own path. In that I don't want to be anybody's 2.0. I don't want to be, a junior of anybody else. I kind of want to be my own person. Very similar to, Lewis Hamilton. He's created his own legacy in the sport. Nobody refers to him as somebody else, That's kind of what I would like to do. But for sure, if you want to have the easy answer, Lewis Hamilton, you can't get much better than winning 7 world championships and, driving for a Ferrari next year, obviously. And I guess some could say his last couple of years in Formula One.
How do you think that's going to go at Ferrari? Is it a last hurrah, or is it a legitimate kind of revitalization like Fernando Alonso has had at Aston Martin?
I don't know. He's had quite a tricky year this year. I love him. I think he's a great personality. I think he's a great driver, and he's done so much for the sport. I think my mum would like what I've just said as well. But as to how he's going to do, I honestly don't know, because I think Charles Leclerc's very good. He's hungry. He hasn't won a world championship before. Ferrari seem to be in a good place over the last couple of months, and certainly this season they've done a good job. It's tough to call. It really is. But I would be surprised. All right, I'll I'm going to say it now. I'll be
Right.
surprised if he beats Leclerc over his span at Ferrari.
So no more 8th world title chat. That's not going to happen.
I wish I could say 100% yes, but I personally can't say yes.
Okay, head and heart. Your head wants it. Your heart wants it. Sorry, your
Yeah,
head's saying it's
I
not
don't know.
realistic.
Maybe I might regret that, but I don't know. You know,
Hey, look,
it's
going to make 2025 even more exciting with all the rookies on the grid
completely.
and with that move as well. I'm really excited to see what happens. Our time is coming to an end, so I've got to ask you. Obviously, we have the new F3 car, which I know you haven't driven at this point yet. You've done a lot of testing in the old one. The new season coming up, you had you didn't score points till Silverstone this year, but then you won in Spa. Was it Spa?
Yeah.
And that was a huge moment for you, and you finished the year 12th, which is a huge achievement given that there were a lot of pointless kind of weekends. It's all looking good for this year. What is achievable? I'm going to put you on the spot to end this, and I know you're going to give me a diplomatic answer, but realistically, we're not at a racetrack right now. You're not wearing team kit. What is achievable this year?
No diplomatic answer. The win is the goal.
Right.
That's the only thing I'm aiming for.
We spoke to James Vowles on this show, team principal at Williams, and he said that for their academy, they only want winners. And obviously, Luke Browning was the champion before you in GB3. Is it that important at this level that you are winning the championships to get the backing of those teams and things like that?
Completely. Yeah, as I said, my goal, the only goal, is to win this championship. May the best person win, best driver win. I think it's going to be a very exciting season with the new car, as you said. Everybody kind of starts off from zero. But yeah, it's set to be a very good season for sure. So, yeah.
I know not many drivers have announced that they're doing it yet, but who do you see as the biggest rival of the drivers you expect to be on the grid?
To be honest, I kind of just see everybody as the same. I don't really look at somebody and think, oh, he's going to be my rival. I don't know. In F3, it can swing so much very quickly. Well, similar to me, I guess, this year. Started off the season, the mid-pack towards the back of the field, and we ended up at the front. So it's very similar. I honestly don't know. There's quite a few drivers in F3 that can all win races. So we're just going to have to pick and see who ends up, being the main guy. But
fingers crossed.
I'll be aiming
trophy
for it to be me. So yeah,
we'll speak again at the end of the season. You could tell me all about your trophy winning season.
for sure.
Simple as that. Callum, thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. Obviously, F3 season's got a few months to go, so best of luck with your testing over the winter.